Hi students, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Vijnanavedi. And this is the last episode of this lesson. Okay. And in the last class we have discussed something about the scenes and all. Let me ask you some questions. Let me check whether you read it or not. Okay. Let us go through the questions now. Did you study the questions and answers? Okay, now I am going to ask you the questions. What was Mr. Thoret's suggestion to control the tiger? Do you know the answer? Did you study? Okay, then tell me the answer. Okay, your answer is correct. He wanted to tie a wire round the neck of the tiger and he will be able to control the other end without showing him in the scene. What made Ray think of a collar made of tiger skin? What is the reason for that? Yes, if they are using a wire, the fur over that area will get flattened. That's why he thought to think a collar made of tiger skin. Why did Mr. Thoret bring two tigers instead of one? Why did he bring like that? Because if one tiger failed to act properly, he can use the other tiger. Your answer is correct. Where the shooting took place? The shooting took place in Nottingham. Yes, that means you studied all the questions and answers. If you are studying like this, you will be able to answer all the questions for the examination. So, study the lessons very carefully. Now, let us move to the lesson. We mounted the camera on its tripod and placed it so that it faced the bamboo grove. The audience was instructed to get behind the camera and to stand as far back as possible. We had to stay relatively close to the bamboo grove, and Gooby and Bagha too had to be within yards of the camera, for it was necessary to have at least one shot that showed them together with the tiger. They were arranging all the things and they kept the camera on the tripod. What do you mean by tripod? This is the picture of tripod. It's a stand with the three legs. We can fix the camera on it. Okay, that is the tripod. And on the tripod they kept the camera and they were ready to shoot the scene. At that time, Mr. Ray, he wanted to get a scene, and in that scene, Gooby and Bagha should be there and the tiger should be there. Only one scene he wanted like that, and the three of them together he wanted to shoot a scene. As we discussed in the last class, it's a high risk. Okay, let us see what happens next. Okay, Mr. Thoret's men had fixed a 5-foot iron rod to the ground about 30 feet from the area where the tiger was supposed to take a walk. They took a thin, long wire and fixed one end to the collar made of the tiger skin that the tiger was already wearing. The other end was tied firmly to the visible portion of the iron rod. The door of one of the cages was unfastened and Mr. Thoret called out to the tiger. It responded almost at once and sprang out of its cage to land on the open space outside. What followed was totally unexpected. One look at Mr. Thoret's startled and helpless face told us that he was as taken aback as the rest of us. Instead of walking sedately in a dignified manner, the tiger started prancing around with tremendous enthusiasm. It leapt, it jumped, it rolled about, dragging its poor trainer, who was desperately clutching the wire tied to the tiger's collar in a futile attempt to bring it under control. We stood around foolishly, watching a new and strange kind of circus which we were getting to see for free. The camera was still standing on its three legs, staring into the wood, but the tiger was showing no sign of making its way there. And what happened in this paragraph? Mr. Thoret, what did he do? Instead of getting the control of the wire in his hands, he put a rod, he fixed a rod, iron rod on the ground, and a little portion of it was kept above the ground. And one side of the wire was tied to the tiger's collar and the other end was tied to the rod. And what happened? They were all eagerly waiting for the tiger to come out. When it came out, what happened? It sprang out of its cage. It jumped out of its cage. And what happened? It began to move with large steps. That means these scenes they can't shoot because they have to shoot the scene. In that scene, this tiger had to walk very slowly in a dignified manner. Instead of walking very slowly, this tiger was moving with large steps. That's why they can't take the scene. Mr. Thorat, he became helpless. He just got startled because the tiger is not at all coming under his control. At that time, Satyajit Ray said one thing in a humorous way. They were watching a strange kind of circus for free. That is the humorous expression that he brought in this work. Okay. And what happened? The camera was kept on there. It was still standing on its three legs and they couldn't shoot anything at that time because the tiger was not at all acting as they wished. Okay. And the next paragraph. Once the tiger had calmed down, we managed to take a few shots we needed. This should have been the end of the story. But when we returned to Calcutta and looked at the scenes with the tiger, we realized that the camera had failed to work properly. The shots were too dark, so much so that the tiger was merging almost completely with the background of the trees and leaves. We had to shoot the scenes all over again. We spoke to Mr. Thorat and he agreed to give it another go. We found another bamboo grove closer to Calcutta in a village called Boral. The lorry arrived once more with Mr. Thorat, the tiger, the steel wire, the special collar and the iron rod. And with the lorry came the whole village. We told the villagers that they should stand at a distance of 70 feet. No one paid any attention to what they were told. The entire crowd moved as close to the camera as they could. We could not afford to waste any more time explaining and arguing. So, we got the camera ready and signaled to Mr. Thorat. And when the tiger became calm, they tried to shoot the scenes. After reaching their own places, they just tested the camera whether they got the scenes and all. At that time, they become discouraged. Why? Because nothing was caught in the camera. The camera got failed to work properly. So, he asked Mr. Thorat to shoot the scenes again. He agreed with that. And this time they decided another place, another village called Boral. What was the name of the first village? Yeah, Nottingham. Here in Boral, they decided to take the shoot again. So, they asked Mr. Thorat to come again with the same things. And Mr. Thorat came there with the tiger, iron rod, collar, everything. With all the equipments, he came there. At that time, many of the villagers were standing nearby them. And they were asking them to move away from there. Why? Because if the tiger is going to attack them, they can't escape. That's why they were asking them move away from the scene. But they were not at all listening to that. Anyway, they decided to shoot the film. Why? Because they don't have enough time to waste by arguing with this audience. So, they decided to shoot the scenes again. And what happens? Let us watch. He opened the door of the cage. The instant the door opened with a clang, our tiger emerged with a loud roar and charged straight at the villagers gathered behind the camera. The crowd, consisting of about 150 people, melted away as if by magic. After that great burst of energy, the tiger calmed down very quickly. Like an obedient child, it walked over to the spot we had chosen, paced about quietly as it was required to, and then ambled back to its trainer. Even the camera behaved this time, which we realized 2 days later when we returned to Calcutta and saw the scenes we had shot. Now what happened? They asked these people to move away from that scene, but they didn't care for that. And at last they decided to shoot the scene once again. At that time what happened? When Mr. Thoret opened the cage, the tiger jumped out with a large roar and just went near the, went straight the villagers. And what happened? All the villagers went here and there and all disappeared from there as if by magic. Then what happened? After a great use of energy and a great burst of energy, what happened? The tiger became too calm and like a small child, like an obedient child, this tiger did all the scenes in a proper manner. And when they reached Calcutta, they checked the scenes and they understood that all the scenes had shot very well. And this is about the lesson. Do you like the lesson? Was it interesting? Okay. Now let us go through some questions and answers. Why was Mr. Thoret taken aback? Because the tiger behaved in an unexpected manner. That's why Mr. Thoret taken aback. What might be the reason for the tiger's unexpected behavior? What might be the reason? If I am asking one of you to come and stand over here and to make a speech on a topic, what will you do? Some of you may get afraid because a lot of audience are sitting there, that's why you may just got frightened, right? Likewise, when this tiger saw a group of people standing there, it got tensed. It just behaved in an unexpected manner. How does Ray describe the situation humorously? Yes, your answer is correct. How did he explain the situation? He explained the situation is like this. He was watching a strange kind of circus for free. That was the humorous expression he used in this lesson. What did Ray mean when he said this should have been the end of the story? One might think that shooting the scene with the tiger was successful. Ray says that the story does not end here as he had to shoot the scenes once again. Why was Mr. Thoret asked to give it to another go? Why did he say so? Because he wanted to shoot the scenes once again. What was the magic performed by the tiger? What was the magic? How did the tiger come out of the cage? The tiger come out of the cage with a loud roar and went straight at the villagers. What was really required of the tiger in that scene? What should the tiger do in the scene? It should come out of the bamboo grove, it should walk here and there, and it should go back. What did Ray and his team realize 2 days later? What did they see? After 2 days when they reached after Calcutta, they checked the camera and it worked very well, and finally they shot all the scenes well. Okay. Now I am going to give you some vocabulary. What's the meaning of afford? To have enough money or time to do something. What do you mean by clang? By making a clang sound, this tiger come out of the cage. What do you mean by clang? To make a loud ringing sound like that of metal being hit. Futile. What is the meaning of futile? Having no purpose because there is no chance of success. Means useless. Okay. Prance. What do you mean by prance? To move with high steps. That's called a prance. Sedately means what? Very calmly. Sedately means very calmly. And here we are going to watch a video about this lesson. All the things related about this lesson. Let us watch it.
তুমি এখানে যে
তারাই দিছে
না যাইনি
Now let us move to the activities. The activity 1 from page number 50 in your textbook. Write the events that took place in both the places in a sequential order and then describe the shooting. Here we come to know that in two places they take the shot of the scene. In the first place it got failed and they moved to the second place. Which was the first place? Yes, that was Nottingham, and the second place was the Bhorel village. And here some hints are given. The first one, the shooting at Nottingham, found a suitable bamboo grove in Nottingham. A lorry arrived with two well-fed tigers. The fixed tripod, next one I will explain to you. The fixed tripod facing the bamboo grove to take the scenes in a proper way. Likewise, in an order you have to write the other points also in this column, and this is quite easy for you to do. Why? Because if you are reading the textbook thoroughly, you will be able to complete this column. Okay. And the next part, shooting at Bhorel. What happened there? Found a bamboo grove near Bhorel in Calcutta. They fixed the camera over there. The lorry came with a tiger, and what happened? Found a bamboo grove near Bhorel in Calcutta. Then what happened? The lorry arrived there. Mr. Thorat came there with the tiger, with the collar of the tiger skin, wire, iron rod, and all the things. Okay. Likewise, you have to write all in a sequential order. There should be an order for that, and one by one you have to read the textbook and you have to fill that columns. Okay. Do you understand? You have to do it very carefully. Okay. And the next activity, Ray and his friends, the activity, second activity from your textbook in the page number 50 itself. Ray and his friends visited the Bharat Circus camp in Calcutta to hire a tiger to be filmed for his movie Gubi Gaine Bagha Baine. He spoke to the manager of the circus company. What would Ray have spoken? Attempt the conversation between Ray and the manager. What would be their conversation? Good morning, sir. Then may I know who you are? Then likewise you can write down the conversation. Then Satyajit Ray says that I am from a film company. I want to shoot a film. When Satyajit Ray said this, Mr. Thorat asked what can I do for you? Like this you can write a conversation at least of 4 exchanges. Okay, that you can write and keep in your notebook. Don't forget to do that. It may come for the examination. Okay, this is one of the important lessons. It's time to wind up the lesson. So thank you. You can watch this video again in the YouTube channel of Goodness TV. If you have any doubts, you can ask it through the comment box of this video. Good night. May God bless you. Thank you.